of June, 2021. And so I want to thank all of you for attending tonight. And let's see, do we have any attendees in here? Okay. So yes, we're going to start with a roll call vote and the acceptance of the minutes for the month of May.
Alysha Lewis Coleman.
Yes.
Larissa Scheinberg. Don't leave. Eric Diaz. Yes. Thomas Rosa.
Not here.
Okay. Shirley Fennessy. Shirley Fennessy.
Not here.
David Crane.
Not here.
Anisha Stephens. May Lee. May Lee.
She's waving, yes.
She's waving.
May-
actually.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was on mute. I'm trying to get myself off mute, but I'm here.
Gotcha. Jackie Wong.
Not here.
Linda Jones.
Here.
Okay. Michelle Cooper Smith.
Present.
Trevor Holland.
Yes, but maybe I shouldn't be. No one's here. But yes,
Excuse me?
yes, I'm here.
All right.
I'm here, yes.
Awesome.
Okay,
Okay. Yep.
that seems to be it for right now. And I see Brian is attending as well. He's in the wait room. Well, he's one of our attendees for today from the Borough President's Office. So welcome, everyone. Let's see what's going on. Give me 1 second here. Anisha. Stuck in transit. Okay, Anisha's on her way, guys. All right. Let me just mute myself. So let's go ahead and just jump in. So you all received an email from me for what my discussion with Stephen Golden was from the law department at the Borough President's Office. And Mr. Golden assured me that basically that we were not operating out of illegal situation. That, I mean, I guess that was our worry, that we all thought we were doing something illegal. And he assured me that it was a parliamentary procedure violation, really wasn't anything that needed to merit another vote or getting rid of the old officers and the new officers or whatever that was. He said we can operate as long as we made the amendment to the minutes to reflect that we did electronic voting, and that was it, that we approved the electronic vote. And so I sent an email out to everyone, and I thank Lisa, Herman, and also Michael for their service. And I assured them that, you know, if we need any support, that we would reach out again. And Michael did reach back to me and said, anytime we need his support, he is open for whatever we may need from him. So I thank them. So that's that. So we need to make sure that we call those members back, or I need to get on the phone, me, Alysha, get on the phone and call Shirley and Thomas to tell them to come on back. Larissa is on a leave of absence, so we won't be seeing her until September, okay? So everyone, please note that. May, you got the memo on that? That Larissa's on a leave of absence until September?
No, I did not get the memo.
Okay, well, all right, so I'm telling you that she's on a leave of absence until September. I guess I'll shoot you an email as to, you know, what the situation is or whatever, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that's that. New members, woohoo! We have new members. We have 5 new members, everyone. And you know what? Let's announce them. So we have Kenyelle, who has come to us. What's happened? Uh-oh, there's a lag. I apologize. So Kenyelle comes to us from a NYCHA development on East 3rd Street, and we're glad to have her as another NYCHA resident. And we have Jamie, who is a bar owner. He owns several bars in the area, and we welcome him as a licensed member. to the board. And it's always good to get some information from someone that holds a license. As Michelle can tell you, that level of expertise is always needed. And then we have a woman named Jeanette Kim. And Jeanette, Susan, can you give a little background on Jeanette a little bit? Trying to remember.
She's been at every committee meeting.
Yeah.
She's very enthusiastic and has indicated interest in both SLA and landmarks, which I sent the information to Linda also.
Yeah, she's very enthusiastic, which I love. And then we have a woman named Laura. Laura comes from another NYCHA development, I believe it's Jacob Reese Houses. She, also has a background in working at a settlement house in Harlem. And so I don't know exactly what I haven't seen. Well, I don't know. They haven't, Susan just asked them to make sure they turn in their committee request forms at the end of the month after full board. And so when I get them all back, well, let me finish the announcement. So, and then we have the last person, Daniel. Daniel has a parks background, which I know, Trevor, you were looking for someone that has a background in parks. And so we have these new members, and I am in need of at least 2 mentors for them. I got I have 2 of you that signed up. Paul and Michelle have signed up to mentor 3 of the new members, but I have 2 that are outstanding. And so if you feel so compelled, if not, then I'm going to go ahead and reach out to 2 other members and see if they could possibly sign on for that. And as I sent in my email, basically, it's just a matter of welcoming them to the board, sitting with them, back and forth, you introducing yourself to them and basically helping them with the vote sheet, because the vote sheet can be very confusing, especially if you haven't attended the meeting from the month before and you see something on the vote sheet, you're kind of like, what is this? And then it's like, how do I vote? What does it mean to abstain? What does it mean to be present and not voting? And these are the things that we need to just be conscious that they're new members and they may not have ever attended a community board meeting. As when I became a board member, I know Scott appointed me, and it was a requirement that you actually attended some community board meeting. But now I don't know if that's the case anymore. I think that it's just a matter of people having an interest and a level of expertise in some areas that we may be in need of. And so that's that.
Can I interrupt just for a second?
Yes.
Linda, could you make Jackie a panelist? And then Brian has his hand up.
Okay, Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Susan.
How can we have Brian talk? Brian wants to speak. His hand is up.
You have to make him a panelist.
Okay, can we make him a panelist?
We would make Brian a panelist?
Yeah.
It's temporarily.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Brian.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry to jump back, but I thought I heard something. I just need to maybe clarify. Okay, just going back when you mentioned your discussion with Steve Golden, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like you said that he was from the borough president's office.
Oh, he's our lawyer. He's the lawyer of
Law
the community
department.
board, right?
Right.
He's the law department for the community board. I apologize. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make that clarification.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's all I
thank
have.
you. All right, Brian, thank you. Yeah, I know. I also spoke with Adele from Gail's office, and Adele was the one that gave us the advice to just continue as if the election. What happened? Lag? Another lag? What happened? We're good? Okay, so yeah, so I don't know. Adele gave us some other advice and we just kind of followed her until we heard back from Steve Golden. And so once we heard back from Steve for the clarification, now we're in good business. So yay. All right, so welcome back, everybody. For those that were lost in the wilderness. Eric, can you take minutes tonight? Did I ask you to take minutes tonight? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so that was that. Now, I'm still on the mentor situation. I still need 2 people. And so I'm gonna try and get those. I want to get them before Tuesday night so that people can have someone to talk to before Tuesday night. So I know, Trevor, you're very busy, so you can't do it. Is there anyone else that may have a few minutes to assist someone? Michelle is already committed to 2 people. So anyone else interested in
Alysha,
helping?
for Daniel, although he has a parks background, I'm not sure that's what his committee request form is. So
I
you
don't know.
might
I
want to.
haven't seen his committee request form.
Okay, so you might want to wait until that to see what committee they want, and that way look for a mentor in that particular group.
So now that brings me into my next thing. So Susan and I were talking about the process for the new committee members. So what that looks like and what we've done in the past was people give their first, second, and third choice. You would, I would look them over and then I would send them out to you guys and you would tell me whether or not you have space on your committee or a need for another individual on your committee. Some of you are overwhelmed. You have so many committee members and others have very few committee members. So what I've said in the past to the appointees is that what we would do is see where the need is and they would be placed where the need is. They may not get their first choice. They may not even get their second choice. As we've seen from last year's selection, many of the members, you know, some of them did get in where they needed to go and where they wanted to go, and others had to just get in where they could fit in and help out. So we'd like to, you know, make sure that people are very much aware of that. And so I never tell them that they're going to go exactly where they want to go. I never make that statement to them because I don't want to give anyone this expectation of, you know, you're going to go where you want to go, your first choice. That's not going to happen. David is in the waiting room. He's a attendee. Can we let David in?
You want David on the panel?
Yeah, David is a parliamentarian. And David is.
He's treasurer.
Who knows what he is anymore?
He's treasurer. I counted the votes.
He's the
He's treasurer.
treasurer. He's the treasurer.
So maybe he didn't get a proper link.
Yeah. Okay. He's there. There he is. Hey, David.
Hey, I'm sorry I didn't come in the other way normally. Whatever. Thank you for letting me in. I will tell you that I've already had a year, maybe it was 2.
Welcome back. I'm ready to sing welcome back. Okay, so before I get silly, let's get back to business. Okay, so that's that for me. And I want to, I think that's it, was just to remind everyone about the, and please make sure if you've seen people at your committee, please continue to just welcome them in. I wanted to do something to celebrate them being on the board, but I don't know, we just, if anyone has any ideas on ways that we could just welcome them other than just have the Zoom cold welcome, can't really shake a hand or hug someone. So I know Larissa wanted to plan a little park get together where people could just like socially distance and kind of mingle and see one another. So if you're still interested in doing something like that in the month of July, because I think June is already gone, let's talk about that and just email me and let's move forward. All right, so that's it for me, for my report. Next up, Susan.
Yeah, I think you skipped minutes.
No, we did the approval of the minutes.
Oh,
We did a roll call approval.
Okay.
Eric called people.
Okay, so I'll give my report. It's been extremely busy. And on top of that, as you know, Jim is gone. And on top of that, most of you don't know, Deidre's been out sick. It's been 3 days so far. So it's been Ed and me, and it's been not easy. I want to talk the open culture, just to let you know the kinds of what's happening in the city. So open culture streets started, which should have been an all good thing. It was implemented and the guidelines were implemented so badly that nobody knew what was going on, neither the police nor the open culture partners nor us. And there were just hours and hours and hours of phone calls with the precincts, with the partners. I actually met with 2 of them to try to help them. So I think things are kind of straightened out. An example of one of the problems is the city said, you can have permits for 12 hours. You can go till, if it's either 10 or 12 o'clock at night, but they neglected to tell them that the administrative code doesn't allow sound permits after 8. So they could not be having performances at that time. And, you know, everyone thought, well, either the police were just being mean or it was a community board rules, where actually it was the administrative law. So that's the way programs have just kind of been implemented. It's the fiscal year end, as people know. We have agreed on a setup with a company that's going to give us the software and hardware to be able to have blended meetings in the office, and it'll have other benefits. We'll be able to we'll be able to use a Zoom anytime, like even if we have a few people in office and a few board members we might be voting with. But we'll also be able to project from a computer onto the screen to be able to work together. For instance, like when we rank our budget priorities, it'll be very helpful to have that. So everything has been ordered. It will be, the rules are that it has to be received before the end of the fiscal year, which it will be by the beginning of next week. And then we'll have our installation. Those are, you know, billed separately. We do not have enough money in our operating budget to do all this. So what we're going to take all that we have and pay for that. And then some of it will come out of our Red Cross funds. We have plenty of money there. We're doing really well on the district needs statement. Most of the committees have either finished or have just very discrete things that they're still looking for. We're still working on human services like we are every year, because there's just so much more there. It's so much more in depth and so much more. But Kayla has been doing a lot of work on that. We've been having email. For people that don't know, the law department has been hacked and they haven't had email for almost 2 weeks. But there's other strange things going on. I have not gotten many emails from Alysha. I've opened up tickets with our tech department, but I'm having trouble with them. And then some residents, when they email me, I don't get it. But when people on the CC line reply all, I get it. So if don't get back to you for any reason, you know, please, I'm asking people to even use my old email address, stetzer@cb3manhattan.org. If, you know, either to use that as a CC line, or if you don't hear from me, use that. I'm starting to check that again just because of our city emails. The police are also reporting emails are just disappearing. So I personally think it's some kind of security issue. I've kind of almost put constituent services on hold just because we can't get to everything. I've had some people harassing me about it, and you know, I just told them there's just nothing I can do. I have to prioritize. Some of you know that there's been problems in Tompkins Square Park. There have been DJ parties that are promoted on social media that start at 10 or 12 at night. Since Washington Square Park has been closed, some of them have been coming over. And then we have the open streets on 7th Street and St. Mark's. So which is just crowded. And when people there see the DJ parties, they come in. So I did convene a meeting with Parks Department and the police and council office. And Parks is now getting extra police brought in on the weekends to be there proactively. Our precinct very smartly decided not to go do what was done at Washington Square and go in, you know, like a hit squad and or start arresting people. So what they're doing now is they're staying there proactively, and they are shutting down any amplified sound. and drinking. And I will announce this at the full board. This is in response to the residents' complaints. Residents are just absolutely complaining about this blasting music all night. And I think that's about all I was going to mention, unless someone had questions. Oh, one more thing. I sent an email to some of the chairs. We've been talking for over a month about district level budget consults, but we haven't set any up, and now I'm doing it alone. So you need to let me know if you want to have it. We should have it in July, toward the end of, last 2 weeks of July is good. We do have parks one we have talked about with parks, but we don't have any others. And it requires an agenda to be made in order to have it. And the other thing is budget priorities. Every year we vote on programs that we think are important that need funding. We can't vote on them if we don't know if they need funding. We have to find out. So send me the things your committee is interested about. You don't have to vote on it. You don't have to get it from your committee. They've been discussing it. If you will just send me, these are things that we're interested in. The 12 boards are, as we speak, we're putting that together. We have to submit it in July to OMB, but we go through a process where we have, each board has coordinates a couple of agencies. We put them together, we meet, we refine the questions, and then send them into OMB. So please don't wait till the last minute, and don't leave yourself, if you're interested in things, we don't want to be stuck at the last minute saying we don't have information to vote on it.
Oh, so Susan, I had a question about the budget priorities. So I know that you sort of like people to do research, but just for the budget questions, I mean, is it okay if they just ask questions about, things that they're interested in and want to know, rather than go through the whole city council, the route of listening to all the city council hearings? Because that is quite a bit of work, but they may already know.
So they may know, but that means I have to do the research, because we're
okay.
not going to, I'll tell you why. We're not going to put, if the agency has said, we're increasing funding to increase staff at the precincts, and we're going to hire 50 people for each precinct. We can't, we would look really stupid if we put on the agenda, what's the funding like for police? Are you adding or losing police?
Okay, so I'll ask them to do it. Okay. Okay. I was just sort of responding to what you said,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll ask them to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't ask for something that's already known, because I would be upset if, people ask me things and I say, well, it's on our website, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you want to utilize the meeting time well with them, is your point, right?
Well, it's not only that, it's even preparing the questions. So all the district managers meet before we submit the questions. And we all look at the questions for DHS, and we make sure that everything is a good question, that it's about budget. It's not about, something that everybody already knows, that kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
We spend a lot of time and effort on this.
Okay.
Susan, is there a particular date that you have in mind for this for this meeting?
I sent an email out. I think I said by the 14th. I sent an email out to the chairs earlier for that.
Okay, everyone just make sure you receive Susan's email about that. I know I don't know what's going on with my email stuff. It's just crazy, but yeah.
I may not have had you on it. I think I just asked the chairs, and I didn't have Trevor either, because Parks is set.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Susan. Is that the conclusion of your report?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have second vice chair's report. Eric?
Hi, everybody. So I'm presenting on the borough board meeting that happened today. The big topic of discussion was this MTA Transit Elevate proposal that's CB3 has signed on in support of. there's overwhelming support for this program.
So Eric, I gotta stop you there. So I made a big boo-boo. So I should not have supported something that we haven't voted on yet. So what I should have done was abstain from the vote until we finalize our vote on it.
It's not that we didn't vote. Jackie, this is your committee. So correct me if I'm wrong. We did vote on it, but we didn't vote to support or deny. We just voted comments. Is that correct,
Make
Jackie?
comments.
Can
For
you
the
remind me?
MTA, for the MTA.
Yes, you are correct. We didn't take a
So it's-
position on that.
We have already voted. We just didn't take a position for or against. We
Okay, so
comments.
because you didn't take a position, I took a position, which I should not have done. I overstepped. And I voted to approve the transportation because I felt, well, I don't know. I read it and I thought it was something really good, but I should have called you, Jackie, and asked you ahead of time how the committee voted on it. You didn't vote to deny or approve, so,
Correct.
but I voted to approve. So, yeah.
I mean,
Can you just let them know? Because you can change what you already
Yeah, I'm
voted.
gonna have to, well, Brian is on now, but I mean, Brian, can you tell me what the procedure is? Who do I have to contact to let them know that I have to change my vote?
You can let me know, but if you also have Brian Lafferty's email, he
Oh, yeah, I do.
on that stuff.
So let Brian know.
Yeah, and if you want to CC me too, that's fine.
Okay, I'll do that then. I'll do that tonight before. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate that.
Of course.
for the
I think you're
clarification.
automatically absolved if you just say mea culpa a few times.
Everybody's silly tonight. Okay, moving on, Eric, going back to your report. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to say that all the borough board, rather, all the community boards in Manhattan are in support of this. It's going to provide much needed support for people who have difficulty accessing MTA's subway stations, and kind of build up the capital infrastructure for MTAs pretty much across the 5 boroughs. So this is going to help people with disabilities as far as, walking, to have better access to the MTAs across the boroughs. So that was kind of the meat of the 3 hours meeting today. I do also, I was going to mention, I missed my opportunity to get feedback from the borough, from the community boards regarding how they're approaching the NYCHA blueprint, which was something that was a big topic and requested of me to ask. So I apologize and dropping the ball on that.
No, it's okay. I think I'll email them individually. I'll ask a few of the boards that have NYCHA developments. The bulk of the boards that have NYCHA developments are uptown, a little further up, like past Hell's Kitchen. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah. And that's pretty much concluded my report. I keep it nice and sweet. And just again, I'm always available to address any comments or concerns regarding the board.
Eric, did you get a chance to ask them about the other question I asked of you? It was the question about how well, I know Michelle is going to bring this up and during her report. So it was literally, we are in desperate need of like some support around how to deal with unruly members of the public, that come to committees and just go on rants.
Yeah, I know that was an important issue too. I just missed my whole opportunity to speak and share. It kind of called my name and I missed that.
Okay, so I guess that'll be something that Michelle is going to just ask for support from all of us during her report. But thank you, Eric, for your willingness to jump in at 8:30 in the morning and sit for 3 hours at the borough president's meeting. I'll be able to attend July's meeting as I am taking a leave from work for the summer. I need a little break. Okay, so I'll be attending the July and August meeting. So I need someone to cover me for September and the rest of the way. Okay, I see David has his hand up. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, it was hopefully a quick question about the vote that you did. I guess it was borough board. Was it about subway accessibility largely?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if it was heard in land use, maybe there's some complicated, I don't know, structural or financial aspect to it, but we have taken a very strong position many years ago.
To support.
about
Yes.
to support.
Yes, I
building it.
remember.
Always understood that they needed to find a way to fund it. So
Right.
it may be good enough. I don't know.
I remember because
This
I
was a-
enjoy the luxury of riding the elevator at Broadway Lafayette.
So this was a
Uh,
very specific citywide text amendment that gave certain zoning benefits.
Okay, probably that's different.
Can I?
Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, Jack.
So I'm sorry, I just had to take an important test message. Sorry about that. So the test amendment was really about giving some development bonus to developers, and that we were not able to figure out like what is that development bonus. We need to know very specifically how much development right is given for that trade-off, but the city were not able to provide those information. So we didn't oppose the plan because we think, like you said, I actually think it's a good idea. However, our committee, some of them actually philosophically feel like all this kind of funding, all these kind of projects should be funded by government entirely. However, some of our committee members, including Herman and myself, feel like we agree with you. Like personally, we agree with you. But then the text amendment didn't specify like how this bonus should be given. So we have a little bit concerned. That's why we didn't take a position. We just wrote a bunch of comments about the plan.
And I'm gonna say, the board, you all voted on it last month.
Right.
Okay.
So we asked the city to actually provide more details, but we didn't oppose the plan to find more money for.
Right, there was no opposition or
Right.
approval, right, I got it. Okay, thank you again, Eric, I appreciate that. And thank you, Jackie, for clarification. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to, we already did the district manager's report. I'm sorry, Susan, we jumped the gun.
No, we did. It was fine.
Okay, planning for the retreat. So I just need to hear back. I know I asked you last month. I need to ask you again. If you have specific things that you think that we should be including with the retreat, I'm reaching out to the Peace Institute to give them a rundown of exactly what it is that we're looking for. I don't believe that we're gonna have time between now and September to have a retreat the way it's looking now, because people are gonna be on vacation during the summer months. And so I don't want to overwhelm anyone. If people, people need a break. I mean, COVID is a lot, and now we're all just starting to get out again, and people are actually being able to go visit their loved ones because they've gotten vaccinated. So I mean, like, who am I to stand in the place of progress? I mean, thank goodness that we're able to get out and connect with human beings again. So that all being said, I think that if there's anyone that's interested in working with me that has experience around training, I used to be a trainer at my past job, and I'm still a little bit of a trainer at my current job. And so if there's anyone that is interested in working with me to get together, piece together what it is that we want it to look like. And also, I know the next line is the training. So I think they kind of go hand in hand between the retreat and the training. We could probably do a little bit of both for some things, not everything, because I know specifically for the trainings for the new members, they need to have parliamentary procedures. They need to know office procedures and that stuff. So that's something separate. But I'm just thinking more on the lines of how, we can help the new members and the most recent members, because some of the most recent members are also still kind of struggling with what the community board does, what their roles and responsibilities are on the community board, what they can and cannot say as members of the community board. It took a while for a few people to actually understand, like, you can't just go mouthing off to the press or to these vloggers and, telling them whatever you feel and think you're representing, just yourself. And you're actually, some of them use your words and now you represent the whole community. So it's like, we need to really talk to people and teach them how to be cautious of things like that. But I do need some support around this. I really am asking you again. I have to get back to the Peace Institute for other reasons, not just for this, but also for the other situation that we've been dealing with. And we just kind of like, it's in limbo. We haven't discussed it, the Michael Marino situation. So at this point, we're going to I'm still trying to wait for the consult from the borough president, guys, so please bear with me. I was waiting for them to give me the letter of support so that we can go ahead to the mediation process for that. But not losing focus, I really, like I said, I need some support around what we want this retreat to look like. It's basically team building activities and things of that sort. Anybody have any idea what they would like to include or what we could include? We can maybe talk about it later. I don't want to hold everyone up, but you know, so that's, get back to me, please. Email me, text me, whatever you need to do to get to me, please. Okay. New members training, I guess all of this stuff is going to have to take place in the fall, like I said. So, Susan, if you have any idea about the new members, you know, you and I can continue to discuss this offline. Okay?
You mean for training or just to work with them individually?
No, for training, because they're going to need training.
I would suggest that we
Just
take
wait
what
until
we did
September.
last time and see what changes we need to make.
Okay. Okay, sounds like a plan. All right, we're going to go on to our committee reports now, everyone. So rapid fire, so that you can all go home if you're not already there. So rapid fire, what that means is, please tell us if there's anything that you need to share, or if there's something that was a complication at your committee and you need some support around that. Okay. First person up, SLA. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thanks, Alysha. Yeah, everything was mostly okay in terms of the applications, but I did want to bring up in terms of issues that we are facing in SLA meetings, and I don't know if this happens in other committees, members of the community who are disrespectful towards the committee, towards me, towards staff members in their allotted time. These people often also are nasty via email as well. And so I'm just coming to exec as, you know, a united front to sort of, I would like us to have a united front in how we would deal with these types of situations, some sort of like policy or stock phrase or something of that nature, because, you know, we are obviously public servants, but I don't think that we are punching bags. And so, you know, everyone here is a leader. And I'm just wondering if anyone has any things that they have used, they've employed. And in a lot of ways, Zoom makes it worse because, you know, it's just hard. It's very clear that you're hijacking, if you're muting people, you know, like people get pissed off. So I'm just wondering if anyone has any, from the exec, has any suggestions about how to deal with that. Like if there's some sort of situation that you've encountered that's similar.
No?
Okay,
Anybody?
somebody, come on.
Anyone else been yelled at in their meetings? I'm sure.
I was there and I did speak up. You know, I sort of like pretended like it was directed at me too. I don't feel it personally was. I know they were definitely attacking, you know, Michelle and Susan. And I said, like, I don't think it's appropriate and I don't think it's productive. And I talked about name calling, I think is the general term I use for it. I don't know if that is helpful, but I did it. I mean,
yeah, no, and I appreciate that. It's just that I think that I would like to have some sort of like agreed upon statement from exec that we can have a, you know, it helps when I think that this is something that's exec level decision rather than something that I implement as my own policy. So that's why, you know, I'm coming to you all if you have suggestions or anything that you've done. Because the thing is, like, it's not like always name call, it's just like false things that they're saying, accusations, you know, like disrespectful stuff. And, you know, and I'm a public servant, but Susan is also our employee, you know, so like we have a duty as managers, right, to protect our staff members. So, you know, it's just been happening more and more. So.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul. I see your hand, and then Susan.
Forgive me, there's a lot of traffic by where I'm at. Yeah, it's kind of unsettling. Now there's websites going on, the plastering our picture, and they run their mouths in emails, and a lot of keyboard warriors out there. I can't. It's kind of it's tough because we can't retaliate, and we have to be professional and do what we can in the meetings and outside of the meetings. And Michelle's vice chair for transportation, so I know what she's going through at SLA, and we've seen some of it at transportation too. Not all the time, not to the level that SLA has been getting it recently, but this is ridiculous. It's just that people are just getting out of control with some of the language, some of the things they're saying, the incendiary comments. And here we are, we volunteered, and we wanted to be a part of this and try to do good, and here we are getting smacked around.
Yeah.
So I don't
crazy,
know.
that's what I call it.
I don't know how we resolve it, but yeah, we do need a unified front. I agree with Michelle on that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Paul. Susan, and then Trevor.
Okay, so one thing I learned when Scott was borough president, they had a do not engage list for people that were nasty, which I do at the office now. And I realize you can't do it in the same way at a meeting, but I think we absolutely should not be engaging in conversation with them about what they're doing. I think, possibly, stopping in a meeting and say, we're not going to engage in this conversation. We're just not in, and just that statement to keep cutting them off. And if everybody used the same statement, and if necessary, mute them for a few minutes and say, I have to stop you so, you cool down. This isn't, we want to hear such and such from you. Give them, turn it into something positive, which I know will be difficult. I want to say some of these people that are coming to the board and attacking Alysha, Michelle and myself have put out the most egregious and racist stuff about board members and, including Alysha, as well as what they've, put out about Michelle and me, and David's on their website, and, a number of people are. And, I don't think that can be rewarded. So of course they can give their comments about licenses or whatever, but I would like to also, if I could just say, observing it from the outside, sometimes setting an example is also important. And I had stopped going to SLA meetings a few years back because they were so painful in the way applicants and public were treated. And sometimes board members are not always professional. And I think maybe setting a good example is also helpful.
Thank you, Susan. Go ahead, Trevor.
I'm not sure if this is, other than COVID and a crazy summer and a lack of respect for a lot of different things, I don't know if that's a cause of it. But what I'd like to see, and I know that there's a rep from the borough president on, is what are our standards for board members? Because I think we saw some behavior last year, and I don't know what the standards are anymore. But if board members are acting a certain way, that's certainly going to encourage the public to act a certain way. And I don't know, I thought we had standards about what we can say in public and what we can't, but I'm not sure if we do at this point. I think that needs to be examined. And I don't know if it was ever handled, but that's the first thing I'd like to see taken care of. And I think that should be handled at the borough level, because there's been examples of where folks have said stuff or done stuff, and it seems to be acceptable. It seems to be okay. So if a board member can do it, then the public can certainly do it. So I'd like to hear, and I'm not asking Brian to opine on this at this point, but I'd like to hear what those standards are.
Thank you, Trevor. May, and then David, and then Susan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would also be interested in those standards, because no matter what we do about individuals, we want to prevent it from happening again. So it's, we don't seem to have any standards, and it's not we don't have any, but we need more. And we had developed some, but things have changed. not things have changed, but other situations have arisen where more situations need like a standard, we need to like what to do, you know, and we can't just say we have free speech and just leave it at that. You know, I'm on that website too, and from these people I've never heard of. I've never been to an SLA meeting. I'm not even sure if it's about SLA. So it's just all very odd to me. And it doesn't affect me that much because I don't even interact with those people. I'm not even sure who they are, you know, so because there's no, it's like everything is very anonymous, but I do find that kind of disturbing though. So, and I generally don't like it. And I would, you know, like to see how that can be stopped.
Thank you.
Or not happen, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure what we can do.
Absolutely. Okay, go ahead, Susan.
Well, first of all, in answer to May's question, the website is not about SLA. It's about the last election. And it's about, so I won't go any further there. I'm going to say as far as standards, it's our bylaws. We make our standards. The borough president can appoint or not appoint members based on what they feel. I remember years ago, it was years ago, an SLA committee member would just start swearing at people, and the borough president's next day, this is back in Virginia Fields, the next day got rid of that member. So they can certainly do that. But we create, the community boards create their own bylaws and their own standards for what's acceptable and what's not.
Yeah, but I believe, Susan, I believe that's for membership, you know. I believe that we do set a certain tone. And I mean, like, I've always, I'm not going to knock myself, you know, give myself a pat on the back, but I've always prided myself in saying I try to model the behavior. If you don't see me doing it, why would you do it? If you don't see me cussing and fussing and carrying on in public, why would you do it? If you don't see me yelling at members, why are you doing it? Like, I don't get that.
I was responding to Trevor saying it should be borough-wide. And
Oh,
what
no,
my
absolutely.
answer, what I was responding to is each board creates their standards of what they accept or not accept from their board members.
Right, from board members. But now, you know, it's really what Michelle's question was about how to deal with the public. Because I mean,
Yes,
dealing
that's
with the members is definitely something that we're going to address in the new bylaws.
Right.
And I think that we're going to be very specific. At this point, we've had several examples of what is proper and improper becoming of a board member, right? So yeah, thank you. Okay, next, Jackie, and then I see Paul's hand, and Michelle, your hand again. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alysha. So Dominic is no longer with us. I just wanted to say, I mean, I'm looking at the board members issue Trevor just brought up. So before Dominic left the board, he highlighted to us the need to be sensitive about any discriminatory behavior in CB3 that we may not be aware of. And he also led us to think how we as a group can achieve a higher level of equality. So I just think that at least what we can do is provide a training on that again. I remember Alysha and I both signed up and went to that training provided by the borough president's office. I mean, we didn't like, we just happened to see each other there. And I think that training was helpful. I just feel like some of the training provided by the borough president's office can be brought to us as well. I mean, like what Michelle faces is a lot of questions, and I don't think none of us have all the answers, but I just feel like that is something, maybe like a discriminationary training for the board members is something we should consider. And I heard other members are also, I mean, not with us tonight, are also talking about that maybe this board need that training.
Thank you, Jackie. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thanks. Well, I just wanted to say that although even if the BP's office is not necessarily responsible for the standards, they are the final appointers of all the appointees on this board, and they can remove somebody if they so choose rather than supporting someone. And I would also just clarify Jackie's statement that Dominic left the board. He was summarily removed from the board and not reappointed.
Exactly.
So I want to make sure that that's clear.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate everyone's statements, and maybe we should maybe this is the first iteration of this conversation, and everyone can think about it in the next month or so, and we can reconvene. But like some things I've been thinking about and are like, you know, cutting someone off and saying, we will not consider any input that is not factual and contains personal attacks or false information, or just something simpler, like we will not engage in this line of commentary, like I'll come back to you or something like that. So yeah, and I see Paul's hand up, but just to reiterate, like I would like some sort of exact, you know, decision about how we will address these things going forward. So.
Yeah, and Michelle, I also ask that you bear with me as I'm going to reach out to some of the other Manhattan chairs, because I think this is something that is not just specific to Community Board 3. I believe that this happens all over the city where people just get on social media like this. To me, I feel like Zoom is another platform of a social media that we're using, and people are just out of control. They have no filter. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh yeah, I'll just say that I am begging for us to be able to do in-person meetings. I think it'll get better.
Yes,
I don't know if it'll
I
100% get better in person, but I think that you're right, that people feel more confident hiding behind a screen or even without a camera. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, you're right, Michelle. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I'm just all about accountability and holding people accountable for their actions. And if it's board members, members of the public, you know, and you already alluded to it. We have our bylaws meeting next week, and hopefully we can start addressing a lot of this stuff within that and changing up everything we need to change up or make adjustments to, because that's where it's going to start, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully we'll be able to address a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm all for the trainings, but we got to start holding people accountable. I hear the training stuff, but there comes a point that just looks like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I agree, Paul. Thank you. Go ahead, May.
So I was just listening to what everyone was saying, and I think some of this, you know, what Michelle and Paul and David were saying, and I think that we have put a little bit into the bylaws about this, or maybe it was a policy manual, I forget, but we need to do more. And I would, maybe if we get that training that Jackie was talking about, we could put more of this into not so much the bylaws, but like a policy manual, or maybe it's the chairperson's handbook, or maybe different aspects of, you know, all these policy things we have. Because I think that's, I mean, the bylaws have like a function, but these other things that people are talking about how to deal with all these things, doesn't necessarily belong in the, I mean, David can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel it's better off in a policy manual or handbook. Like the way corporations have a handbook, or, you know, about things.
Yeah, I agree with you, May. I mean, that's always something whenever you join a new organization or you are a new job assignment, you know, they ask you to sign off on a disclaimer or something like that, what you will and won't do. And they give you like this handbook and they say, okay, now if you violate these things, you know, this is a measurement that we'll use to fire you for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, not just about firing people. I mean, even like, you know, or even it could be more in the chairperson's hand, the chairpersons, that thing that, you know, yeah, it's about chair. So the thing that you know.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
The committee chair handbook. I mean, yeah,
right. There could be more in there about that if that's a situation where we're concerned about.
Yeah, I agree, May, but this is like, again, this is more on the lines of what Michelle is saying. It's about the public. We can talk about members all day long, but she's dealing with the public attacking. And this is something that, you know, when people feed into the frenzy, so you have members of the public that are attacking, and then you have members of the board that are joining along with the members of the public that are attacking. So that,
right, you know, right. So it's about what you do. I think, you know, people want to know what to do, you know, so that's why, so I understand what's going on. But if you want to know what to do and what you're allowed to do, then it's good to have something in writing somewhere. That's all.
I'm gonna take maybe
And
one
we don't,
more.
it takes a while to develop that. I'm not saying you just, so,
Yeah.
and we need more information to develop it, I think.
Thank you, May. Is there anything that hasn't been said that needs to be said right now so we can move on? Go ahead, Trevor, I'll take you and one more.
Just
Go
real
ahead.
quick, so much
Okay.
for rapid fire, but I still think, and I would like for the borough president at some point to address this, because we do have bylaws, but it is extremely difficult for us to remove a member. It's always confrontational. We sort of back off a little bit, but I think if the borough president took some, because they do appoint members, had some standards. It's a little different when you go down to BP office and explain yourself, as opposed to going into a Thursday meeting and then we delay or meet. So that's just my comment, but that's obviously a whole different
Yeah, Trevor, I do agree with you on that. Go ahead, Paul.
This is something a little different. Have any of the, I'm a younger chair, so I'm just asking this for the chairs that have more experience than me. Face to face, have you ever had to remove a member of the public from any of your committee meetings?
I don't think I've ever seen it at a committee meeting, but I know I've never seen it at a committee meeting, but I do know when the police have been called into some of our full board meetings when we met at the school. So I know, I mean, I don't know if they were physically removed, but I know that there was a lot of threatening to physically remove people from the police department. Yeah, there was once, right, Susan?
We had arrests. I called the police and we had arrests, but those were those are very unusual.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened since, that was like.
Wow, it's been a while.
Yeah, 2000, around 2008, around there.
Uh-huh.
I'm only asking, I'm sorry. I'm only asking because if we kick somebody out of the Zoom room, that's almost equal to like just a removal of somebody from a meeting. So I'm just, what kind of repercussions we're gonna get.
You can just put them on mute.
Yeah, mute. You're not removing them, you're just muting them for a second till they get it together.
I like the remove button a lot better. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, Jackie.
I'm sorry. I knew you were trying to finish this, but just go back to Paul. Like in our land use committee meeting, every time before we start a meeting, we actually announce that people should not make opinions or comments in the chat box. Otherwise, they will be removed from the meeting. We actually announce that every time we have a land use meeting, and we told them this is a CB3 policy.
Okay.
We actually announced that.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay, Michelle. I hope you can get a little bit of.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I just asked if they don't mind thinking about it, and maybe we can come back to it next month. Jackie, I like your policy because people are chatting me constantly, and they get upset when you don't respond, and it's like you can't run a meeting and also do like the
No,
like
we're not doing
respond
that.
to chats. It's crazy. So thank you guys.
All right, so we're going to close on this topic. Michelle, is there anything else you would like to share with us about committee? Anything else? Anything that we should prepare for Tuesday night? If there's anything,
I have a feeling that there's going to be people. Yes, there will be people talking about one of the applications. I'm almost positive, number 16, which is 84 Stanton Street, which is formerly the meatball shop.
Yeah.
The resolution was 3-3 in committee. So I anticipate that there will be people speaking on it.
Yeah. I encourage all of you to look at the vote sheet ahead of the game, because it is, I do believe that it's gonna be a little contentious when it comes up. Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. Enjoy the great outdoors. Don't go anywhere yet because we have to vote. Okay, all right, next up we have our Parks Department. Go ahead, Trevor.
So we had an interesting meeting with some good news. The city announced $120 million more for the ESCR project, which will cover the amphitheater cover, which was not in the original plan. I don't think a lot of people knew that. The flyover bridge, which will handle that pinch point for people who bike near the Con Edison site. So there'll be a huge new bridge, and playgrounds in Murphy Brothers, which is actually in Community Board 6, but there will be 2 new playgrounds. So that's good news. It's at least $120 million. Probably wind up being $200 million because that flyover bridge is going to cost a lot of money.
Mhm.
They also announced that the Ecology Center, the compost yard, will return back to the East River. So after many months and after being on the park's agenda for almost a year, every month, they are coming back to the East River Park. I'd like to say that CB3's advocacy had played a big part in that, because we really did pressure the city into giving us answers on that. We also did a resolution on the Plus Pool. For those who are unfamiliar, that is a water filtration system of a pool that will go right behind my building. There will be a pilot next year. They are looking to raise 25 million, so it is in very early stages. So we put in a couple things we'd like to see, including 24-hour security, because I can imagine there's some teenagers who are going to want to jump over that fence and get into that pool at 2 o'clock in the morning. And some other things regarding community engagement, but with the understanding that this is very, very early and they still need a lot of money to raise that. And also we want it to be free for everyone, but they've committed to that. That's about it.
Thank you, Trevor. Transportation.
Oh, it's back to me. All right. We only had one resolution we had to work with. We had our first bus application over a year. So we voted on that. We approved it. It's a bus application, one trip a day. It's going from New York down the Chinatown area up to Mohegan Sun. We also had DOT come with the M14 Select Bus Service proposal of some adjustments that they want to make. I believe they're going to come back in July, but I believe that's tentative right now. Yeah, that's really about it.
Yeah, I saw that the Chinatown buses are back in operation again. A few of them have started up again, so yeah. All right,
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
you.
Economic, Anisha's still not here yet, so we're gonna pass her over and then go into May, Health, Human Services, Youth and Education.
Okay, so for the upcoming meeting, we have a couple of resolutions for the full board to vote on. One is the bio bus. They're looking to build something called biobase, in this lot on in one of the schools. It's not being built yet. They don't even have funding, but they just came to give us an update about the project and also ask for a resolution because they still, they don't even have funding for it. So they're in the very beginning stages of that, seeking funding and all that. So, so it's just to support the project. It's a great project. Also, that's an example of one of these agenda items that's called an update, but there's also a reso. So they did update on this project, but they wanted a letter of support for their project, when they go after funding. So, and then the second one is about the school that, Institute for Collaborative Education. They want to move into Marta Valle building. And we have a resolution. The committee voted to support them. There was a big presentation with a lot of questions, and their whole model has changed and expanded over the past 2 years to be a little bit more inclusive. And they're involved in this it's like diversity, and they're also have been involved in this it's like a diversity in admissions process to get more diverse students. And I noticed that they talked about students with IEPs and a little bit about English language learners. So they've come a long way in the past 2 years, but I think there may be a lot of questions about that at full board nevertheless. So we're prepared to answer them, for whatever information we have.
My question is really around, and I apologize that I wasn't able to make that meeting, but I do have questions around how they're going to deal with their safety of the students when they're exiting the building, because the biggest issue that I've seen over here on this side where they're currently located is when the students are released from school, they're hanging out around the 14th Street area. And right now that place is oversaturated. So how are they going to deal with that on Stanton Street and in that area? And that's a kind of like a congested area also. It's kind of dense because there's an elementary school right there. So I don't know.
Well, the question was not asked. The greater interest was that, it's one of those application schools, and is the school accessible? Because they're going to set aside for, a certain amount for D1 students, District 1 students. So that was good that there's a set aside, but it's one of those application schools, where it's like, you really got to be,
can come from
you and your
anywhere.
parents really got to be on top of these applications.
Yeah.
And, somewhere. So that was more the discussion, and no one talked about that at all. So we won't be able to answer it unless, at the meeting.
Okay.
And they're in the very beginning stages. So they sort of have, they talked to their superintendent a little bit, they're going to talk to CEC a little bit. We asked them, they talked to the principals of the 2 schools. And, for them, there's this whole channel by which they can't just like call them or email them. They have to do it through a channel, and only that channel. So at the time, it was a couple of weeks ago, they, the other schools hadn't gone back to them. But the committee did vote to support it.
Okay.
So there would be a reso that they could, bring around, show, they're looking for more community stakeholder support at this point.
Okay. So they're not going to be a D1, a District 1 school. So they are in applications. They are a District 1 school.
They would have a set aside for District 1 students.
All right. Well,
I forgot what the percentage was. Yeah, but there's a set aside.
All right. I'm not going to hold anyone else up. Okay. So thank you so much, May. Is that the conclusion of your report?
That's a conclusion of that report.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have land use. Jackie, go ahead.
Hi. So we had a reso on hotel tax amendment. So basically, this is us future hotel developments to obtain a permit from City Planning Commission so that they don't impair the future use or development of the surrounding areas. So basically, future hotels cannot be built as of right anymore. And this is a restrictions on future hotel developments. And according to DCP, the future demand of hotel rooms would exceed the supply of hotel rooms starting 2025. And we worry that may encourage Airbnb business when hotel demand is higher than the supply, which may reduce the permanent housing units from the market. So even though we approve this tax amendment, but we also want the city to step up the enforcement on illegal short-term subleasing, such as Airbnb, and then there's another company, we call the name. So that is pretty much what we have.
Thank you, Jackie. Can I ask a question? I know that, well, anyway, we'll talk offline. I don't want to ask anything because I know I wanted to make sure that Susan had clarification as to what's going to happen with the NYCHA subcommittee. I know that that's not.
I took it off the agenda.
Yeah, okay, that's what we wanted to make sure you did. Okay.
No one told me to.
No.
Nobody would give me an answer, so I took it off.
Yeah, it's not that we didn't want to give you an answer. We didn't even have an answer. So I made a decision today that we were just going to go ahead and remove it. So that's that. So thank you. Okay, thank you, Jackie. Landmarks, Linda.
Landmarks did not meet last month.
Okay, thank you, Linda. And economic development, Anisha is still not online. So, and I don't think she met.
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did. Okay. Okay, personnel task force.
Hi. So the personnel task force met last night to conduct interviews for the assistant district manager. We had 2 candidates. These are the second round interviews. So we decided on a first choice and a second choice, and there will be a reso that basically authorizes Susan to make an offer to the first choice. If number 1 rejects us, then she can decide to make the offer to number 2. The reso doesn't have any names because just so you know, the names of the candidates are still confidential and they're not going to be disclosed.
Okay.
We're going to have to change the reso from the floor because the first choice has decided to accept another job.
Mm.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
only one person to offer it to.
Oh, okay, so So we would say like, whereas one person, turned us down already.
There was one candidate, yeah, there's one candidate left. I mean, we had 3 candidates. two of them took other jobs, and, one was because of the time, they preferred working for us. And the other is because she preferred having a resiliency job. So we're left with one person.
Yeah, well, we came into the meeting with two, so.
Yes. But I'm saying is we're no longer offering it to two people.
Oh, okay, so so the procedure wise, we change it from the floor. Okay, but we should have something like written, like a drafted, right? So it's not like we're writing things on the floor. Okay. Okay, we'll do that. So I don't have anything else.
If I could just add
no,
to it, just sort of information, I might be a good place. So I spoke to the person who's left and to tell him that the official vote would be Tuesday, but he is interested in accepting the job. And I told him, it's going to take probably a few weeks. So I told him I'm interested in doing what we did with Jim, which is to have him work as an hourly employee, not full-time, but at least somewhat starting next week, and also going to committee meetings. I'll pay him out of the Red Cross Fund. And, that's a way to get him started. It's a way to get some immediate help in the office, and it'll be like an easy onboarding for him.
Okay, so just so we should also report on that at the.
No,
okay.
I'm just telling you guys.
Oh, okay. Oh, is he going to be full time then? I mean, or is he going to work like 30 hours on the hourly wage, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll see what I could get him. I wish he would, but I'm sure he's not ready to. But
okay.
But I'm telling you, we're dying here. We're just dying.
Yeah. Yeah, he did say in a couple of weeks. I mean, when we asked, when are you ready if it's offered?
So I'm getting him to do some work before that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, May.
Sure.
Okay, the NYCHA and Section 8 subcommittee. So I'm just going to put it out here. I do believe that Jackie and I, are going to have to find a way to support Troy. I do believe that Troy is overwhelmed at work and he cannot really focus on the subcommittee at this point, but we have a big pending document that we need to break down to the NYCHA residents, the blueprint. And I think that if we don't start to break that document down, we're going to have a lot of problems that are going to surface from many of the developments, because many of the TA presidents don't even understand it. And now they're out protesting already. They're starting protesting. Those that do understand the document are protesting what is in the document. Basically, the NYCHA developments are going to be sold off to other management companies to manage them, because NYCHA cannot afford, the city just can't afford to manage all of their properties anymore, because many of them are being mismanaged, as many of you know. So anyway, we wanted to talk with Troy, and I mean, at this point, Jackie and I just had to make a decision to go ahead and say, we're going to suspend the NYCHA subcommittee at this moment. I'll send you an email, Susan. This is just something that Jackie and I discussed this evening before this meeting. So
can I just say on that, they don't meet in July anyway. They're not meeting.
Right, we know that.
And so they're not meeting in July, they're not meeting in August. So the next opportunity would be in September anyway. So you could just, you don't need to suspend it or take an action in order to be able to do something by September.
Yeah, so Jackie and I are going to look at ways that we can reconstruct without deconstructing, as they say, right? So
Yes.
we're gonna work on it and see ways that we can support him. Go ahead, Jackie. I see your hand.
Yes. So maybe we can just cancel the July meeting.
It's already been canceled. You guys
Right. So we have a little bit of time to figure out, like, how do we? Yes, we have a little bit of time to figure out the structure of this meeting and what is the best way to conduct the business going forward. I think we have that time for us to rethink about the whole subcommittee. I mean,
Yeah.
all the subcommittees members are very helpful. They are very supportive. It's just that we need to have a way to be able for this group to function well, I guess.
Right, and we have 2 new members that are living in NYCHA development, and we wanted to reach out to them to ask them to join the subcommittee as well, because they have an inside view of things. I mean, I don't live in a NYCHA development, Jackie doesn't either, and so we don't know. The only one that does is Troy, and so yeah, so we will work on that. Jackie and I will continue to work with Troy around that. So that's that. Arts and Culture Subcommittee, Anisha's still not here. And any old business? Okay, there is one new announcement that I did not make, and I'm sorry if I overlooked it. Thomas Rosa has agreed to take on the Facebook account, so he will now be operating the Facebook account on the community board's behalf. So we are great to go for the social media pages. So if you have any events, I mean, not events, but if you have any town halls or anything like that coming up, we'll be able to announce it on our social media page. Susan,
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. It's not only town halls, but anything on your committees that might be of particular interest that you want to highlight. We should have a couple things every month that we want to highlight. So if you'll send those to me, I'll organize them for Thomas and for Tati for Twitter.
Yeah.
Trevor has his hand up.
Go ahead, Trevor.
Just one quick thing. I attended the LMCR, which is LMCR meeting for Lower Manhattan 5I District for their flood protection program. It did announce that as part of the $6 to $9 billion they're hoping to receive from the federal government, that they'd like to take down the FDR, or at least consider taking down the FDR.
Oh my God.
I did, yeah, it's in the budget though. And I did say that I would like for them to study taking down the FDR from the Brooklyn Bridge to Montgomery Street, because that would be the last section left. And obviously it would be in the section that's deemed one of the poorest. So they agreed to look at it. And also there is money specifically targeted for bringing down roadways in Biden's budget if it gets passed. So I think we need to find a way to at least have them examine it. It's going to cost a ton of money to examine, but they have projected in their budget for not only the area in the 5I Seaport area, but also the area which is actually spans 2 bridges. So that's all.
Thank you.
But it's going to take an effort, and I hope that we can get enough folks to say there's an opportunity now with trillions of dollars flowing from the federal government to do this now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Trevor. All right, everyone. That being said, can I have a roll call vote? Eric? Eric.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got Alysha Coleman,
Yes.
Larissa Scheinberg, Lee, Eric Diaz, yes. Thomas Rosa. Okay, absent. Shirley Fennessy. Absent. David Crane.
Here.
All right. Michelle Cooper Smith.
Present.
Got it. Anisha Stephen. Still absent, right? May Lee.
Here, yes.
Perfect. Jackie Wong.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Linda Jones.
Yes.
Right. I got Michelle Cooper Smith twice. Okay, take you out. Trevor Holland.
Yes.
Okay. And Paul Rangel. Paul? Paul? No Paul?
He left.
Oh, Paul was in the streets. Okay. All right. I think that's it. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Enjoy. I hope you get out and enjoy the great outdoors. And there's like a couple of more minutes before the sun goes down. So get some sunshine. Enjoy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, see you Tuesday. Thanks, Linda.
Okay. Here you go.